Hello all. Today we are here to make a video which could analyze and help the students to understand the JEE Mains 2026 January session papers in depth, so that it would be helpful for all of you whenever you are going for your April session and go for your mains examination then also. So let me try to analyze the papers that we had in the January session. Totally we had 10 shifts over there. And after seeing all the physics papers of the 10 shifts, the understanding is that unlike last year, the questions that were asked this year were not directly based on the formula. Students were tested with their conceptual ability to understand physics, and students who were punctual, who were trying to do their work regularly and try to solve the problems, numericals regularly, would have found the papers very interesting. So students who were just memorizing the formulas and then going for the examination, they would have definitely found the papers tough, unlike students who are very particular about the problems and the concepts. So without wasting much time, let us try to dwell into the kind of questions that they were trying to ask. And this is overall gist of the analysis that I have made. So this is as per me, and the questions that were asked in all the 10 shifts were definitely spread across the 11th class and 12th class. There were questions, if not equally, there are questions about, I can see that there are about 107. Totally, we have taken 240 questions, out of which 107 questions in physics were from first year, that is about 44.6%, and 133 questions are from 12th class. So that turns out to be 55.4%. So the thing is that I want to tell is this year, more number of questions came from second year than first year. And among the first year questions, about 41% of the questions were on the easier side. So again, if you have grip on the concept, then 41% of the questions were easy, 37% of the questions were moderately tough. That means they would be really testing your ability to understand the question, ability to understand the subject. If you are good at that, then 37% of the questions were also solvable, though for a normal understanding, we say that 37% of the questions were moderate. Rest of the questions were on the tougher side. And among the second year questions, I thought 44% of the questions were on the easier side. So that is something which every student should pay attention. So number of easy questions from first year and number of easy questions from the second year was slightly higher. And in second year, 42% of the questions were on the moderate side. So again, people are trying to test your ability to understand the concept. 42% of the questions were on the moderate side, rest of the questions were on the tougher side. And another important thing that is noted is there were few questions which were multiple concept based questions. And if you can choose formulas correctly and then apply there, only then you can solve them. So multiple concept questions are also there. And instead of asking direct questions, as I said, especially in units and dimensions, you need to understand the relation between different physical quantities. Only then you can answer those questions from easy chapter called units and dimensions. So in fact, it is also noted that though we say it is easy chapter, units and dimensions and electromagnetic waves, in almost every shift there is a question from these two topics. So students who gave some importance to these two topics would have easily scored marks. And some students were telling that the calculations were lengthy. Yes, few of them were lengthy, but many of them are solvable. If you approach properly, all those calculations could have been completed in time. So it is all about placing your priorities right. It is all about approaching the examination with cool mind. If you are there, the papers, yes, I thought, personally, I felt very happy looking at the papers, because unlike last year, the papers are not easy, they are not straightforward. Only when you are good at the subject, you could have answered all these 10 shifts of papers. So the remaining in-depth analysis of questions coming from which question is coming from which chapter, how many percentage of questions were easy, tough, and all that, Bhushan sir will dwell into that one now, and wishing you all the best for your future examinations.
Hi students, hope all of you are doing fine. And till now, my colleague Mr. Kailan sir has given the outline of the JEE 2026 January session. Okay, so now we are going to discuss in detail about each chapter wise what is the weightage that we have got. Okay, and hoping that all of you have written the exams very well, and even if you could not do many questions also, don't worry, it's all about your percentiles. Okay, and also we are also having our April session also, right? So let us see the detailed analysis of each and every chapter. Okay, so here goes. We have taken the total of 240 questions, okay, of all the 10 shifts what we have got from the memory based. Okay, and here in the first year we got, main thing is only units and dimensions, errors and measurement, you got around 16 questions. Total kinematics, which is including 1D, 2D, projectiles, and one question on vectors also, which I have taken the kinematics only, of 11 questions. And when it comes to Newton's laws of friction and Newton's laws of motion and friction, you got less questions, and work power energy. And here also these number of questions, also some multi-conceptual questions are there, which are including work power energy with other topics like collisions and all. So all that counts to be 8. Okay, so like that, here main things what we are going to observe is, if you look at the rotational dynamics, so why not? Because as a chapter is a lengthy chapter, a lot of things are there, but still, even though 17 questions are there, but much of the questions, definitely here at least 10 questions are there only exclusively from moment of inertia. So that if you take on an average in every paper, you got a question on moment of inertia. And the other questions are including, like you have a conservation of angular momentum, a little bit of torque related questions. Okay, and most of them are easy, but some moderate, and one or two questions even the tougher side also you got the questions. Okay, and next another thing is thermodynamics, also definitely a very good weightage. So around 10 questions means that is definitely each paper one question on an average that you have got. Okay, and this time you got the mechanical properties of fluids also, total 9 questions, every paper one question, and most of those questions are like in the you have viscosity related terminal velocity questions are more. Okay, so that is some simple analysis of the first year. Okay, and this again I have grouped, like see, there's one way of grouping is, because three chapters like that I have grouped of the total first year. Why? Because if you look at the first 3 chapters itself, you got around 11.2%. Okay, so just to think, just the easy topics. Okay, already in the previous videos also we have been telling that how much weightage they carry. So that is having 11.2%, which is really good for the students and encouraging for all the students. And if you look at these chapters, Newton's laws, friction, work power energy, circular motion, this is also a center of mass collisions, all these only 7%. Okay, right. And of course rotational dynamics along with gravitation are grouped, like which is around 9.5%. Why? Because rotational dynamics already, as I told you, 17 questions are there, but in that 10 questions truly of moment of inertia, right? And then when you look at this set, like your simple harmonic motion, because in oscillation 6 questions I've got, and all those questions were very easy only, except one question like 2-body oscillator. Okay, 2 blocks are connected with a spring and time period. If you remember the formula, it is good, otherwise also it's not so easy sometimes. So but remaining questions are all easier side only in oscillations. Okay, mechanical properties of solids, when you take stress strain curve, simple straightforward questions, all the 3 questions are straightforward. There was one paper in which 2 questions you got in only mechanical properties of solids. Okay, so like that. And as I told you, mechanical properties of fluids, okay, terminal velocity related questions are there, and Bernoulli's principle related questions are there, and just simple floating one, that also it is there. Now when it comes to the thermal properties of matter, okay, so here the questions are related. One question on thermal stress was there, and one on composite rod expansion, that was there, and also calorimetry questions, which again combination with like conservation of energy, like two particles coming and colliding, inelastic collisions. Okay, what is a increase of temperature, like that type of questions are there, and mixing of ice and water, that related questions, calorimetry is also there in the thermal properties of matter. Okay, and kinetic theory of gases, yes, always that gas laws questions were there, RMS velocity questions were there, and one question even they have asked regarding the collision frequency, okay, which most of the students don't know the formula also sometimes, because it's a rare question, I can say, because when you have that mean free path formula, based on that collision frequency they are going to find. Okay, so this is the analysis in the first year. Okay, so that definitely, which will give you a good idea which topics you can pick up, okay, which set of chapters that you can pick up, so that you can increase your scores. Okay, so next coming to the second year part. Okay, second year part, when you see, so waves, 7 questions you got, and of course most of those questions are easy only. Your questions are related to some 1 or 2 questions on beads and argon pipes, very easy questions are there, and root of t by nu, speed of a transverse wave, that type of questions also were the easier side only completely. Okay, then one important feature is this one, ray optics. Total if you see 20 questions really. Okay, and if you believe it or not, means on an average 2 questions in each paper only on ray optics. Okay, and these also including most of the questions, majority of the questions are from prism and combination with the total internal reflection, and some questions are from our lenses. Okay, at least 8 questions are from prisms here. Okay, and total internal reflection, and there are some questions, 5 or 6 questions from lenses, remaining 1 or 2 questions only from spherical refraction and from simple basic refractive indexes, Snell's law, okay, velocities, okay, and calculating the wavelength, like that type of questions are there in the ray optics. Next, wave optics also, yes, this is also good weightage, small chapter, as we are always telling you. So on an average 1 question in each paper, and here also at least 6 or 7 questions only exclusively on YDSC, and very simple questions only. Apart from that, 2 questions on polarization and 1 question from diffraction also you got here in wave optics. Okay, so altogether this if you can take as one set. Next, coming to our modern physics, very important, which every student would love to do, and definitely will prepare this set. Okay, yes, and this set did not disappoint. Okay, this time also. Okay, so in dual nature, de Broglie wavelengths, standard questions came, and photoelectric effect, standard questions came, easy to solve. If you see dual nature alone, 8 questions, and atoms also 6 questions, which are including like distance of closest approach, Lyman series, Baumol series, like that type of questions came. Okay, just if you remember that total atomic structure type, even in chemistry also, you know, so that related questions. This time nuclei also you got 7 questions. Okay, altogether, which includes binding energy. Okay, and stability of the nuclear fission, and some question just on isobars, isotones related also, some theoretical question also you got. Okay, then comes to electromagnetic waves. Yes, this is also one easy chapter. Okay, but you got some good questions in this chapter also, like total 10 questions means on an average every paper you got 1 question, right? In that also displacement current got the questions, simple equation of the electromagnetic wave, they are giving like electric field and calculating the magnetic field like that, and C equal to 1 by root of mu naught epsilon naught type of questions. So that, and intensity and energy density related questions also you got. These are the areas in the electromagnetic waves. And when it comes to semiconductors and logic gates, so majority of the questions are from logic gates. Okay, out of 8 questions, around 5 to 6 questions are from only logic gates about the truth table, and 2 or 3 questions on Zener diode. That is, Semiconductors, definitely good number of questions, right? And next comes our electrostatics. See, if you look at this electrostatics and current electricity, okay, so these two itself comprise 16 and 17 questions. And in electrostatics, questions have gone little good questions like moderate or even tougher side also. You got the questions, okay, like dipole related, electric potential related questions you got, and even there are shells, spherical shells type of questions, okay, potential differences. Lot of areas they have covered, definitely in electrostatics, lot of areas. And in current electricity, questions you got on meter bridge, easier questions were on meter bridge, and different other just finding out equivalent resistances questions are there. Heat developed thermal energy related questions are also there, and even there was one question on potentiometer also in the current electricity. Okay, next capacitors is one more area. At least in the first 4 or 5 exams, every exam you got the question on capacitors. Here also majority they have focused on dielectrics. So when you have kept one dielectric and when you have removed one dielectric, what is the capacitance that it becomes partially filled dielectric, okay, and redistribution of charges, that type of questions have come in the capacitors. Okay, now it comes to the electromagnetism. You got Biot-Savart's law and force acting between the parallel two current carrying conductors, that related questions have come. And then comes, yes, electromagnetic induction also. You got compared to electromagnetism, electromagnetic induction, you got around 12 questions, but most of them were only on the like motional EMF, simple Faraday's laws. But of course, they were taking a little bit of time also. Okay, so little lengthy but doable. Okay, and alternating currents, you got 4 questions. And if you look at the weightage of this also here, I have just classified into different categories. Generally, students will try to make these categories. So here, waves, ray optics, and wave optics. Okay, total 15%. Okay, and this is our complete modern physics. You got around 16. Okay, so you know, definitely compared to this is a little lengthy compared to this. So definitely you have to focus on this even in our second session. Also these chapters. Okay, right. Next, electricity and magnetism total also. One thing what we are going to observe here is in electricity and magnetism also first 3 chapters itself is having more weightage compared to the next 3 chapters. So accordingly, okay, you can have some idea also which they are focusing. Okay, so which will be definitely useful for the second JEE mains also April session. Okay, this is a analysis what we have made percentage. Okay, and regarding the questions also, okay, compared to 2024, definitely compared to 2024, even in 2025 also 2026 questions, definitely not so easy. Definite concept is required. It's not that just you remember the one formula and you can do it last minute and all, that will not work out. Truly prepared students, conceptually strong students, okay, definitely they can do very well this particular paper. Okay, so keeping all these inputs, okay, I hope you will do better, you will prepare better for the April session, and all the best.